So I have to turn on my hotspot on my phone to get my email.
Yeah, mine wouldn't connect to any other internet except for the city. I had to call IT. Mine wouldn't do it at home, on my phone, hotspot, nothing. I had to call IT and they had to do something. Yeah, you'll need to do more of that IT person. I just wonder if we
Or else
can
come by and park in front on Friday afternoon and use it.
Yeah. I just
What's going
wonder,
on Monday?
I just wonder if there's a way to forward this email to your home account. Yeah, there will be. I don't know anything about Max, so. Yeah, like,
Get them all, it's written, I don't. Yeah.
Hey, Tanner. Since you're young. Can you forward that to his home?
to his home
He
email.
can't, his email can't, or his computer, or his iPad. See, this is why I help you. This is why we doesn't connect all the way to.
I didn't have that at home. I got, when I got here, they had me all.
But I think that is why
If you want to type it in.
Thanks, Roxy.
Yeah.
We'll call this meeting to order, and I would ask you to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Welcome to the City Council meeting in Lindsborg, Kansas for May 4th, 2026. We will now turn our attention to item number 3, public input. Do we have anybody signed up for public input at this time? Thank you. We'll now turn our attention to item 4. I don't believe we have any amendments. Item 5, the mayor's report. Just a few quick items. First of all, we just completed a very successful Mill Fest, and a lot of good people came from all around and spent time at the mill. Watching that run, we had a lot of children, students that were there, and it looked like it was very successful. And we thank the board and the director and so forth, the other employees of the mill and volunteers for the great work. It is Municipal Clerk Week on May 3rd through 9th, and so thank you, Roxy, for being our municipal clerk. And Travel and Tourism Week is May 3rd through 9th as well, and we are that's a good event. People think about going around traveling, and Holly's always very good at helping promote that. International Firefighters Day on May 4th. We obviously thank our firefighters for the great job that they do throughout the year. And it's Police Week, May 11th through 17th. And we are very grateful for our police officers that we have in town, keeping us safe. So with that, we'll turn our attention to item number 6, which is the consent agenda. These items are routine and acted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion unless a council member so requests. There are 3 items. Approval of the minutes from the regular meeting April 20th, 2026. Item B, payroll ordinance number 5587, and item C, purchase order ordinance number 5588. Is there a motion to pass the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Are there questions on the motion? Seeing no questions, we'll ask our city clerk to please call roll.
Councilmembers Palmer,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Erica Lysell,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Larry Lysell.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you, council, and thank you, Roxy. Turn our attention to item 7, appointments. I don't believe we have any appointments this evening. Turn our attention to item 8, committee staff reports, and I will recognize Milton Collins, our Community Development Director. Welcome again.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I just want to kind of piggyback off what the mayor was saying. This weekend was great for the Mill Fest, as well as the community garage sales. Drove around Saturday, it looked like a lot of people was out and about. But I don't think everything's sold, so this weekend we have community cleanup. So everybody watching at home, if you have stuff that didn't sell, please bring it to the street department building on Saturday from 8 in the morning till noon. We'll happily put it in a dumpster and take it off to Massey. It's continuing to grow. I was out at Mr. Swanson's house this weekend. I didn't see him there, but his wife looked like she had some things she was selling. And if she didn't get anything sold, if you want her to get rid of it, just bring her on by. So I just want to put that out there, and also kudos to the street department. They help with the loader, getting everything put away. It's usually a good time. Me and Jeff usually have a good time. He usually takes some things home because he's a collector, so he usually finds some things. It's usually a good time, so I just want to put that out there. Items we do not take, anything we're free on, tires, appliances, and paint. That is still liquid. If it's dry, we'll take the cans and we can dispose of those. So anything else, we will take. We don't want large appliances either. Or we can take mattresses, box springs, all that good stuff, and it'll be good. So if there's no other questions or any questions?
Questions for Milton?
Is a water heater considered an appliance?
Are you sure?
I like how you said water heater. Most people say hot water. It's just water.
Milton, thank you for all your efforts. Some of the comments that I always get, Community Cleanup Day is very well received, and it both cleans up the city and it gives people an opportunity to get rid of some of their stuff that they don't need. So thank you for all your efforts and all your team. So thank you very much, Milton.
Thank you.
Council will turn our attention to item number 9, new business. And there are 4 items this evening. Item A is the audit report from Adams Brown. And I will recognize David Hay, our Director of Finance, I think. I would recognize him, but I don't see him.
Mayor, I would like to have you formally recognize our auditor, Adams Brown, to present the audit report.
Great, come on up. And introduce yourself, and thanks for being there.
Oh yeah, so my name's Alex Mitty, and I'm with Adams Brown. So I've worked on your guys' audit now for a few years, and this is the first time I actually came out here to deliver it for you instead of Danielle. So you guys should all have a bound report. That's going to be the audit, and inside that report there should be a stapled letter, which is kind of like our recommendation letter. So I'll probably go ahead and start with that. I'll probably go through this somewhat quickly. If you guys have any questions, feel free to stop me. So then with this letter, on this recommendation letter, on the first page, all you're going to see here, kind of the midway point, you're going to see a paragraph that says difficulties encountered before meeting the audit. If there was any difficulties, that's where we would note it. We didn't have any difficulties, so you won't see anything noted there. The second to last paragraph, corrected and uncorrected misstatements. All this says is there was a couple small immaterial journal entries that we made to get from your guys' accounting records to these financials that we're going to go over here in a minute. So nothing material, just 2 small journal entries. That last paragraph on this page would be if we had any disagreements with management. That's where we would note we didn't have any disagreements with you guys, so you won't see anything noted there. Then on the second page, not much to see here either. There in the middle, other audit findings or issues. If there was anything else you wanted to communicate to you guys that didn't fit anywhere else in this letter, we put it there. Again, you won't see anything noted there. And then this is normally where we would have any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. If we found any, we did not find any of those findings, so you won't see anything there at all for that part of it. So that's all we had on the recommendation letter, so pretty clean there. Then continuing on to the actual audit report, so this is going to be that bound report in front of you. On page 1, it's going to say independent auditor's report. This is going to be the actual audit report. The main thing you guys are going to care about here is going to be kind of the third paragraph where it says unmodified opinion on the regulatory basis of accounting. This is the best opinion that we can give you guys, and this just basically says that we believe that these financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects and the cash balances are accurate. So that's good news there. And there's just kind of some legal jargon that talks about the basis, how we came to that opinion. Page 2 at the top talks about your guys' responsibilities as management throughout the audit. Then the next paragraph talks about my responsibilities as the auditor throughout the audit. So that can be good to read later, but it's just the same stuff that it always says. And then page 3, supplementary information. This just says that these financials do include KMAG statements, which is going to be the regulatory basis of accounting. And then it also says that we did your guys' audit the prior year and has the website for the state of Kansas where that audit can be seen. So, continuing on to page 4. This is going to be your main financial statement. It's called the Summary Statement of Receipts, Expenditures, and Unencumbered Cash. So what you're looking at here is by individual fund as well as the total for the entire city. You can see what your beginning unencumbered cash was. Then we show your guys' total receipts and expenditures for 2025. That gets us to the ending unencumbered cash. Then we adjust that for any encumbrances and accounts payable. So that's going to be anything that was paid after the year end that pertained back to 2025. And then that gets us to our ending actual cash balance. Then we show there at the bottom how that's broken out at the bank between CDs, checking accounts, and then any cash on hand. And then we also back off the agency funds. Not a whole lot to point out here. It's pretty consistent with the prior year, if not increases in cash balances. So that was all good. You can see here at the bottom the total reporting entity. That's the entire city. You started at $11,404,000. You actually increased your cash balance up to almost right at $13 million at the end of the year, so you're up about $1.6 million overall. As you can kind of see, it kind of goes up and down by individual funds. Some of the normal funds, capital improvement, economic development, had transfers in, so they had pretty good increases. The Garfield Street project got zeroed out as that project ended, so you'll see no cash balance left there. Most of the utility funds were up overall. Some of them were down, and some of the reserve funds that ended up being up with some of those transfers into the reserve funds. But overall, I think they were all up. General fund was up a little bit, a few $100,000. Not a huge increase, but it did increase, so that's good there. Then moving on, page 5 is where we start with the notes to the financials. Most of these are going to be the exact same notes that you guys have seen in prior years, so I'm not going to hit on them too hard. On this first page, we do know what your related municipal entities are, so that's just going to be the Housing Authority, the Community Library, and the Elmwood Cemetery. Then we note that you guys are on the fund basis of accounting with all your different funds. Then we kind of define what some of these fund types are. Then on page 6, we talk about the basis of accounting, which is going to be KMAX. That's going to be the state of Kansas accounting guidelines, which are more specified for municipalities. Note 2 talks about the budget timeline. There wasn't really any changes in the budget process from 24 to 25, so that's all going to be the same. Note 3 on page 7 talks about cash, and this note's all going to be the same as prior years with the exception on page 8. That first full paragraph, this is just where we note your guys' cash balances. So you had $13,520,000 on the books. At the bank, you had $13,697,000, so the difference is just any outstanding deposits and checks that hadn't cleared the bank yet. And then of that bank balance, we do show that $750,000 was covered by FDIC insurance, and the remaining almost $13 million was collateralized with pledged securities. So your entire cash balance was covered, and you didn't have any unsecured cash, so no statute violations there. Note 4, if you guys want to see any of the transfers you made, we do schedule out all the transfers that were made. So that's going to be shows you what fund they came from, what fund they went to, and what your statutory authority was for those. Note 6 just mentions that you guys joined the KMIT, which is the risk insurance pool for workers' comp and whatever. Then note 8, actually not note 8, note 9 is going to be retirement. So that kind of talks about your guys' KPERS plan. Again, that hasn't really changed. So the only thing that's kind of of note is on the top of page 10, you can see that the total city contributions to KPERS for the year was about $217,000. That's just that state required contribution for employees. Note 11 just outlines your guys' PTO policy, so it just kind of mimics what your employee handbook shows. Note 12, commitments. This is where we talk about how you guys have your ownership share of the Dawson energy plant. And the only thing I wanted to note here is that second paragraph of this note is going to be new. And this is where we just explain that the overall power plant had the $20 million damage. Your guys' share was the 2.17% of that, which was the $44,000. Then we explain that that's going to get paid out of that TCR fund balance. So we just know what happened there with the energy plant. Page 12, note 14, just talks about the HRA plan and notes that there was $67,000 paid in HRA reimbursements through the year. Note 15 talks about the IRBs. That just notes that you guys have helped some private sector entities obtain some bonds, but it's not a liability of the city. Note 17 is where we start talking about debt. The debt issuances didn't change, so page 12 and 13 won't be any different, but if you get to page 14, it's gonna be your debt schedule. This is where you can see your debt issuances, so you can see your general obligation bonds, my individual bonds, and then the same thing with any of the finance leases. And you can see what your balance was at the beginning of the year, if you had any additions, what your payments were for the year, and then what your ending balance was. So you had about 4.7 million to start the year, and you paid that down to about 4.1 million in overall debt at the end of the year. Then you can also see at the bottom of this page the debt schedule. So that's going to show the next 5 years individually of debt payments, and then we group it into years of 5 after that through maturity. Then page 15 is going to be your budget variance. Big thing here is you want to see negative numbers in that far right variance column. That means you guys were under budget. So we just compare what your guys' certified budget was by fund compared to the expenditures by fund throughout the year, and make sure that you guys didn't go over budget anywhere. So everything was under budget, so no statute violations there. Then page 16 on is going to be all the individual funds where you can see the real details by fund and what's going on with the receipts and expenditures. I'm not going to bore you guys going page by page through all your guys' different funds. If you guys have any questions, we can talk about it. Then the very final page, page 43, is just going to be the agency funds. That's just going to be your utility deposits and the RHID. So everything looks pretty good. No real big findings. Everything's about the same as the prior year. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Thank you, Alex. Questions?
Yep.
Councilmember?
And this might be for Tanner, but I can't remember what the acronym is for the police retirement. Did we not start that till 2026?
KPN.
KPNF.
Was that in here? That Capers was in.
It starts in 26.
Okay, that was my question.
Yep, so next
Thank you.
year on that Capers note, you're gonna see an additional blurb in that sentence that tells you what the KPNF rate is, and then you'll also see an additional blurb on the next sentence that tells you what your KPNF contributions were.
Okay. I just couldn't remember if that started halfway through 25 or 26.
I think you approved it last year and it started 1/1/26.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Further questions? Councilmember?
Just a quick one. I'm relatively new here.
Yep.
I know what GAAP is, GAAP. What's GAAP?
Generally accepted accounting or auditing standards.
Standards.
Yeah. Gas.
So that's different from GAAP?
So GAPs are accounting principles. GAS is kind of what the principles are that we follow for audits.
Okay.
It tells us what we're supposed to do.
We went through it so quick, I didn't
Yep.
see what that,
And then you guys waive US GAAP and then opt into KMAG, which is going to be the Kansas Municipal Audit and Accounting Guide. And that's a specific Kansas accounting standards that the state's
got you. Thank you.
created. Yep.
Further questions for Alex?
Mayor.
Oh, Councilmember Swanson?
Yep.
Note 3, page 8,
Yep.
custodial, not custodial credit risk, sorry, actually, I believe it says on page 7, but custodial credit risk for the deposits.
Yep.
Says that we have our entire balance between 3 banks, resulting in a concentration of credit risk. Only 750,000 of that is covered by the FDIC.
Yep. And the remaining balance is covered by the pledged securities that the bank obtained in your guys' name.
Okay. Okay.
So that's where if the bank were to go under,
Right.
if you don't have the pledged securities, all you would get would be the FDIC coverage. Since you have those pledged securities that the bank gets in your guys' name, that covers the excess balance all the way through the end.
Okay.
And that actually changed some this year, so the bank might have opted in, the state created like a pooled coverage basically, I guess. So instead of the banks obtaining individual pledged securities for all their municipalities, they can just opt in with the state and then the state covers it. So that's just the bank's option.
Any further questions? Seeing no. So, questions? Thank you, Alex.
I'm just gonna make one comment if I'm in there.
Sure, Dave.
Okay, so apologize, I was just fixing the AC over there, I was trying to listen, but Mary wasn't loud enough, so I couldn't hear. So, I just want to say we really appreciate the partnership that we have with Adams Brown. It's not just a once a year communication, it is a throughout the year. Anytime I have questions on anything that does come up, they're always more than willing to help us out throughout the year. And as I've said before, the audit is one of my favorite things because I feel like it's my report card of how well I've done. And I do feel like I did a pretty good job this time around. So we just continue to look at deficiencies and any issues that we have year over year. And Adams Brown does a great job of giving us a way to remediate any issues or concerns that they may have for us. So, thank you guys.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Alex.
Yep.
Appreciate you
Thank
being
you,
here
guys.
this evening. Okay, council, the recommended motion is for, to accept the 2025 audit as presented. Is there a motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second. Are there questions on the motion?
Drew, or was that his first?
I think Drew was first and I seconded.
Okay. Maybe, Councilmember Lysell, maybe we should vote on that. Okay. Okay, we have a motion to accept the 2025 audit as presented and seconded. Can we do the voice on that?
Yeah, it's not a hard and fast rule, but for things like an audit, I think it's best to call roll.
Okay, we'll have our city clerk call and roll, please.
Councilmembers Larry Lysell,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Erica Lysell,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, council. Thank you, Roxy. We'll now turn our attention to item B, resolution number 08-2026, which is the CDBG commercial rehabilitation application. I know we have several representatives here this evening, which we appreciate, and I will recognize our city administrator, Tanner Faust.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. Tonight, I am asking for the Council's consideration of a resolution, Resolution 08-2026, to support an application to the CDBG program for commercial rehab funds. So I was approached by Brett Wagner of Governmental Assistance Services to consider our support for this project. The location of this application will be for 106 South Main Street. This program, very similar to the housing rehab program, is administered through the Kansas Department of Commerce. If awarded, this would give $300,000 with a 25% match to the building owner to make upgrades to that building. I have clarified with the Department of Commerce, SCED, who we're doing the commercial or the housing rehab program through, and GAS, who's here with us tonight, that this project will not have any impact on this pending status of our CDBG housing rehabilitation grant. It is also worth noting that we are only allowed to apply for up to one of these commercial rehab projects during the duration of the project. So we will have to wait. If there's another building owner that approaches us, we will have to wait until the funds are completely expended on this building. What I would like to do is turn it over to Brett Wagner to share some more details about the project, and then we can stand for any questions that there may be from the council.
Great. Mr. Wagner, you want to come on up and introduce yourself? Thank you for being here.
Mayor, council members, Brett Wagner. I am one of the partners in a company called Governmental Assistance Services. We're based out of Lawrence. We've been around for 40 years. We help cities with grant applications and grant administration, along with environmental reviews and income surveys. Mostly stay in the funding world for cities and counties. The owners called me about this building and about this program to see if they would be eligible, and that's where I hooked up with Tanner. Tanner and I worked very briefly on a project in his old capacity in Lyons, and I gave him a call, and I wanted to offer to be here tonight because this program it's not your usual CDBG program. It's the city applying on behalf of an ownership group. So the money will flow through the city, just like with your housing rehabilitation program. But it's not money that goes into the city coffers. It's really just money that goes through the city and then onto the contractors to pay for construction. So there will be, if we get to the point where we submit an application and we're awarded a grant, then there will be a couple different agreements. There's a repayment agreement, there's a matching funds agreement, there's also an agreement that the owners will sign stating that if they sell the building within a 3-year period, that they owe back a prorated portion of the grant. So I always feel it's best to just be here in person and meet everybody and see if there's any questions I can help you with. This may be something you've never heard of before. You may go home tonight and think of a question. Tanner's got my contact information, my cell phone number, and my emails, but the owners are here if you would like to hear from them. I'm sure they would like to just at least introduce themselves really quickly, tell you about what they want to do with the building.
Let's do that. Let's have them come on up or whatever. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Clay Pierce on behalf of the ownership group. My brother Jay, sister Lynn, and my wife Jennifer are all here. So our family's been in Lindsborg since 1970. We've got deep ties here. Our interest and love of the community has now turned into investment. 106 South Main, as Brett described. We bought that late last year. And so we're very excited about this opportunity. We want to upgrade that building significantly. It needs a lot of work. And so I do hope you'll look at this program for future opportunities, because I think it'd be a great thing for Lindsborg. But we're talking about a capital investment of at least $400,000 into the property. It's going to be a combination of the grant and then our money. As Brett's described, the city's not on the hook on any of this. Brett makes it very, very easy for the city in terms of that pass-through that he described. And so I don't want to say it's a no-brainer, but it's a no-brainer. You need to take a good look at this for other opportunities, I think. And we're excited about this. We want to bring that building up to the standard that a lot of the properties have been made in Lindsborg. Our plan is to, the front has some major issues that we're going to get after first and foremost. There's a tenant in the residential on the second floor right now. She'll be leaving in May, and so our plan is to basically gut and renovate that entirety of that. Spellbach is a great, unique Lindsborg business that's there on the first floor, and so they're there for the long haul. Love Adam and what he's doing there, and so we'll try to work around and make it, whatever work we do on that space will just be to upgrade the aesthetics and improve the conditions there for the long haul. So any questions of us? Or
Great. Questions of council, just regarding the building from Mr. Wagner?
I had a comment. I just wanted to thank Pearsons and Reasons for investing in Lindsborg. I think that's fantastic that you guys have such a commitment to your hometown, and I really appreciate you doing that. Mr. Wagner, you mentioned that you can't apply to another one until the funds from this one are expended. How long does that normally take?
So really, I should clarify that, and I missed that in Tanner's agenda item. So a city can apply, there are several different buckets of CDBG funding. A city can apply for a housing rehabilitation grant, independent of any
Which
other
we're in
CDBG
that right
grants.
now, I think, right? So.
One per year. A city can apply for a commercial rehabilitation grant, which is what we're here for tonight, one per year. And a city can apply for an economic development grant or a community facilities grant. There's some different subcategories in there, one per year, with the caveat that none of your CDBG projects can be an extension. So when you are awarded your housing rehabilitation grant, I believe it's on the same schedule as all the other CDBGs. 1 year to be under contract with the contractor, 2 years to be complete. As long as you're not missing that completion deadline, so not even the 1 year contract deadline, as long as you're not missing that completion deadline, you can continually apply. Now, with that being said, the folks at CDBG with limited funding, they may look at an application and say, you know what, we gave you one last year, cool your jets for a second, come back maybe next year. But I have worked in communities that have got them 2 in a row, 3 in a row. The city of Emporia, you may see with this program that once someone opens the floodgates and others see what's possible, you may have a line of folks who want to apply for this grant year after year to keep improving your buildings downtown.
Do you know if Lindsborg has gotten one before?
The records online only go back to 2000, and before 2000, I'm not sure, but after 2000, no.
Thank you.
I would just like to clarify, what I meant to say with that sentence was that if we apply for a commercial rehab project, it's my understanding that they cannot overlap, right? Like 2 commercial rehab projects cannot coincide with each other.
They actually can. But they may not.
I see.
Because the funding is limited, they may not give a city 2 in a row.
Okay.
Yeah, but as long as you're not in extension, you can apply for another one.
Perfect. Thank you. Good.
Great, thank you. Councilor Swanson.
There have been no other commercial rehabilitation applications submitted.
Correct.
This is the
Yep.
first.
Yes, sir.
And that's a great question. That's actually the reason that we are here tonight. I've found, again, before in cities that I've worked in, where maybe there's a developer working on a project that doesn't know about another developer working on a different project. The city's only allowed to do one per year, so that's the reason for the resolution of support, is to give these folks the assurance they need that they can hire me to write their grant application, they can hire an engineer to do the report, and invest that money, that it's upfront money that they're not going to get reimbursed for. So that's the actual reason for the resolution of support tonight.
Calendar year.
That's right.
Ms. Wagner, so there's a portion of the grant funds that would go to facilitating the, I don't know how to call it, but like the non-working pieces, like the
Yeah, the soft costs.
service that you would be providing.
Grant administration, engineering and architecture design. Yeah, the way our company and almost everybody sets up these budgets is you have two sides. You have your grant side, which is $300,000, and you have your matching side, which is the $75,000. We usually set up all of the soft costs on the matching side, so the owners pay that directly. That way I don't have to contract with the city, an engineer doesn't necessarily have to contract directly with the city, and then the construction is all on the grant side. And depending on how it shakes out with the engineering, design, and grant administration, a portion of the construction will be paid for with matching funds too. And this isn't they don't write them a $300,000 check. There's monthly pay requests once we get under construction, and we'll work with the city to get all of those things done.
Okay, further questions? Seeing no questions, thank you very much for being here, and all of you here this evening, and for, as Councilmember Bruce said, for investing in your time and your efforts in improving the city, buildings within the city. That's a great thing. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Council, the recommendation is to adopt the resolution supporting the application of CDBG commercial rehabilitation funds as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved. Or second, whatever.
You can decide, Roxy.
I gotcha.
Any questions on the motion? Seeing no questions, we'll ask our city clerk to please call roll.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Swanson.
Yes.
Erica Lysell.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Larry Lysell.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you, council. And I also want to thank, besides the owners and Mr. Wagner, and I know Tanner has worked with you and has done a great job in trying to compile everything, and so we appreciate everybody's help that was involved in that.
Thank you.
Council, we will now turn our attention to item C, emergency management funds.
Thank you.
Thank you. And memorandum of understanding, and I will recognize our city clerk, Lexi Schubert.
So as part of the city's ongoing efforts to update our emergency management manual, we've been trying to identify community partners who would help us in part of that process if there should be a natural disaster. And one of the things that we've identified is there's a lot of times monetary donations that come in and how we would manage those. And so we have reached out to the McPherson Community Foundation, since they have a long history of being able to manage all of those funds coming in and then spending them. And they actually, when we reached out to them, they have created this memorandum of understanding with the city of McPherson as well. And so they are willing to work with the city of Lindsborg, and they would help with the collection of the contributions, maintaining all the appropriate financial controls, and then coordinating with the city staff with the disbursement of all of those funds should there need to be a response. So they have prepared the MOU. Zach has graciously reviewed it for us, and all looks good. So we are just looking for an approval from council to approve the memorandum of understanding with the McPherson Community Foundation, should there be a natural disaster, to manage those funds for the city.
Thank you, Roxy. Are there questions for our city clerk? Councilmember Bruce?
Was there a comparison done between what the Salina Community Foundation could do for us and what McPherson Community Foundation could do?
There was not.
Because the Smoky Valley Community Foundation is through Salina, so I just was wondering. Historically, they've had better return on their investments, but.
Okay, and we can look into that if you would like us to.
I haven't looked at it for a while, so I don't know, but I just historically their investments have done, and I realize this is not really, emergency funds is not quite the same thing as, so.
Thank you, Councilmember Bruce. That raises a question, if there's interest in further review, we certainly can do that, or we can move forward with this.
I have no idea what the differences would be between the two, if there are or there not, so.
The only, certainly I would say that we'd be in support of exploring other options, but with the nature of these emergency funds, in the event of a natural disaster, I think they would be expended quickly. I mean, that would be the goal, is to distribute it to the folks affected. So we can look at returns, but if we do decide to speak with the Smoky Valley Community Foundation, what are some of the factors maybe that we would?
And I know that the Greater Salina Community Foundation is run kind of like clockwork. So I mean, they're very efficient in how they work and how they operate. So I'm not worried about return on investment of funds. I just know that they are run very well. So, but I don't know that that's, if you guys are comfortable with them McPherson, then I don't feel strongly about it. I just, in the future, if we could look at both, because we do have a foot in both doors, so.
Perfect. Thank you, good points. Further comments, questions for Roxy? Okay, seeing no further questions, Council, the recommendation is for a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Lindsborg and the McPherson County Community Foundation regarding the collection and disbursement of funds in the event of a natural disaster or mass casualty event. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there questions on the motion?
In what way would this memorandum and a similar memorandum with a different, such as the Salina, Smoky Valley one, be mutually exclusive?
I don't know that anyone has explored it enough to know if they're. I was a member of one of the foundations for several years, and my gut says that there's not much difference, but I certainly could.
Not necessarily the difference, but why would they be exclusive? Why would you not be able to have a memorandum and an understanding with both organizations that were neighbors in the area?
We probably could. I think going with one would probably streamline the process in the middle of a disaster.
Sure.
Would be my only recommendation, to go with one versus giving people multiple options.
And it's just a 1 year, I'm sorry,
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
just a 1 year commitment at a time.
Is it just 1 year?
I don't think so.
No, I think it's just you can terminate, and you know, in general, memorandums of understanding are fairly, you know, they are binding, but they're, you know, kind of a handshake plus, if you will. I mean, it's why they're not all, you know, 100 pages long. So I am not seeing the timeline on that, which would be normal.
It says remain in effect until terminated by either party.
Yeah.
With the 30 days notice.
I realize I threw the wrench in this. I do not feel strongly about it. So I mean, I just was wondering if we'd looked at it, because I have been very impressed with Salina. But for this type of thing, McPherson is fine too. So
Well, and I will be honest, we're hoping we never have to use it.
yeah, exactly.
No, those were Councilmember Bruce, good comments and good questions, and you're of course completely correct. It's great that we're in the midst of two foundations, frankly. So.
Yeah.
Okay, Zach, I'm not going to assume that you are an expert on these in foundation. Sure. Anything else? Any other comment?
No, you know, MOUs, again, they are very important. They serve an important function, but because they're not quite as formal as just, you know, a binding contract where you're kind of contemplating suing and being sued, and this seems perfectly standard, and I think it's all good to go. That's the direction we choose.
Thank you, Zach. Any further questions? We have a motion on the table. Seeing no further questions, we'll ask our city clerk to call roll.
Councilmembers Johnson,
Yes.
Erica Lysell,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Larry Lysell,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion does pass, and thank you, Roxy, and thank you, Tanner and Zach, for your comments as well. Turn our attention to item D, Sunflower Foundation Grant Agreement, and I will recognize Noah Flores, our Parks Director. Welcome, Noah.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I'm here before you to speak about the Trailtown grant expenditure. So just recently, along with the CDB and myself, Parks Department, we applied for a grant, a Trailtown grant from the Sunflower Foundation. This grant is subject to basically improving a community's trail system. There were several different levels of the grant money award show that as well. So we applied for the Trailtown grant, which is the higher level. And so we just were notified of the successful award from the Sunflower Foundation. And so this project that we proposed is a infrastructure improvement, which includes lighting on the north end of the trail, but also programming as well, so that we can provide the community with different activities and encourage the use of the trail system, and really show and showcase the trail system that we have and the benefits that it can provide the community. So attached is the letter of agreement, and so I just want to make sure that the city council knows what's going on as far as what we plan to do, and can approve this. And so the recommendation is approve the letter of agreement as presented from the Sunflower Foundation. I will say the fiscal note is a match on the infrastructure of up to $12,500, but the overall grant awarded is a maximum of $25,000, which we did receive. And so the funding source is reserve and budgeted funds for the infrastructure.
Thank you, Noah. Questions for Noah from council?
Do we know specifically yet what portion of the money would go toward the infrastructure, the lighting, and what would go toward programming?
Yes. So up to 50% of it can be used for infrastructure improvements. So I got a quote on lighting for a total of just under $25,000 for lighting. That's 7 lights. There's actually a map right to your right, and that's the proposed. There's only a couple of those actually on the table. I apologize. So that amount of money will buy that 7 lights, solar lights, and so that the remaining amount of just under $12,000 is for programming. $12,500.
And that needs to be used within this year.
Yes. But actually, it's from stay up until April of next year.
On your budget form has June 31st, 27. So full calendar year.
Yeah, full calendar year.
Thanks for applying for this, and that's great. That's really awesome.
I appreciate it. With the help of Holly and her department. It's little.
That's great.
Further questions for Noah?
The only thing I think about is the funding of the lights. Is it included future maintenance of the lights?
So our department will install the lights along with help from some other department. But it's up to us to maintain those. And they do have a 10-year warranty on the batteries. And we have, these lights we propose to purchase are the same ones that are already there. We have 2 of them currently. And they perform great over the last 5 years.
Where are the 2 that already exist?
If on the northern part of the trail, if you're looking at near the North Trailhead parking lot, which is right at the campus. It wise, and there's a light there.
Oh, the blue.
The blue, yeah.
Okay.
Is that where the bench is also?
And then there's another one
Yeah.
at the bench at the
Okay.
point, the most northern point.
Okay.
There's other parts of the trailer that could use lighting too. Why did we pick the north loop to use?
I focused on the north loop, and this isn't concrete as far as I propose locations. I focused on that because there is no other lighting on the new section anywhere. If you look at the section of trail south of there are sporadic lights already placed that are hardwired in. And so it'd be easier to focus, with solar on just that part. There has been discussion on other possible locations, but I felt that if we focus on that area with those particular style of lights, that it would make it congruent and it would serve its purpose.
You know what, there will clearly be a rerouting of the trail.
Yes.
So, and I guess we're not worried about that at this point. These would be installed and moved later as
They could be installed and removed, but I did look at the plan from KDOT, and as of right now, as far as I know, I placed the lights out of that location. The one that's currently there, they have it marked on their blueprints. I'm not sure exactly if they plan on going around it just enough or not.
Okay.
One other thing I have, I'd rather see the money used to add more trail than to increase lighting, but is the focus, you can only use the money in certain ways?
Yeah, so I believe that you can only use so much money for trail additions versus improvements, and the amount that they were going to offer. If we want a concrete trail, that's a KDOT grant, multi-million-dollar project.
Further questions for Noah? Thank you, Noah.
All right, thank you.
Council, the recommendation is to approve the letter of agreement as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion, a second. Are there questions on the motion? Seeing no questions, let's have I guess we look up some money. So our city clerk would call roll, please.
Councilmembers Bruce,
I was like, who are we calling? Yes.
Larry Lysell,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Erica Lysell.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion passes. Thank you, Roxy. That completes our new business. Turn our attention to number 10, executive session. We don't have a reason for executive session this evening. Item 11, other, make note of a study session for our enterprise vehicle leasing on May the 18th. So that'll be start at 5:30. And we are going to hang around here a little bit more and finish up the items, the CVB, Police Department, Parks this evening. With that, a motion to adjourn this meeting would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?